Coming up, Shaun Thompson tells us the best ways to use social media in the park so you can be just like us, walking around Disney World staring at your phone. Coming up. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 581 for the week of March 5th, 2013. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, experts in helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. One great reason to use Dreams Unlimited is because we send people where it's warm. You live where it's cold. Do you like wearing 40 pounds of clothes just to get to your car? Do you really enjoy having 20-degree winds slap you in the face like an angry drunk woman? Clearly there's something wrong with you. But in spite of that, we love you anyway. So let Dreams send you someplace warm, like Florida, or California, or the Caribbean, or for that matter, Albuquerque, anywhere. Just get away from that godforsaken weather. DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, because cold weather sucks. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Diz Unplugged Roundtable discussion, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, John Magi, Kevin Close, Teresa Eccles, and Shaun Thompson. Back in the production nook, our producer Dustin West, along with Craig Williams and Kathy Whirling, who has been exorcised from the table to make room for Shaun.
She gets like the Pope microphone. I like that.
She was voted off the island.
She's in the nook. I like the nook.
In this episode, Craig is going. Or Craig, what is wrong with me?
Craig Thompson, Shaun Williams.
Yeah. I don't know what's. It's age.
Ooh,
it's
I like
age.
that.
I have very few brain cells left, and I've named every one of them. Shaun Thompson is going to talk to us about social media, using social media while you are on vacation, and this is Shaun's first segment.
Yeah, it's my first one. I'm a little nervous, actually.
You should be. We're judging you.
We should all just now
I have
talk.
Twitter open, and I have my notes in one window, and then Twitter open. Your Twitter feed. So I'm ready for whatever comes my way from.
Well, let me get started.
Yeah.
Sean is concerned that we're all just going to sit here and not speak to him and make it uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just me talking.
That's always fun.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so a huge part of me actually going to the parks is using social media, and I think people have this like conception of you being in the park and just staring at your phone the entire time, like you mentioned. And that's not it at all. Like
really?
I actually can't.
That's what I do. Is I just like kind of, wow, I'm in Disney World. It's so wonderful here, and I'm just looking at my phone.
Well, no, because even when we talk about like My Magic Plus and the new app, people always talk about why can't we just go back to a time where we didn't have phones? But I don't see it as this huge like distraction. I'd rather spend my time looking at stuff in the park, but then using social media to enhance that and remember it later.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, we were just up in New York for a long weekend, and I was checking in everywhere on FourSquare, mainly because I wanted to be able to remember like the order in which I did things.
Right. Yeah.
Because, you know, as the opening of this show will tell you, my memory isn't quite what it used to be. So, you know, it is.
Well, and even us, we go so much, so it's cool to remember what you did when, and even for us, since we're local, we can like tally up how many times we've been. So different things
hobbies.
like. Thank you. It's already starting.
I gotta be honest with you. The FourSquare thing doesn't entice me yet, but I don't
FourSquare's a little
understand
different.
it.
Sean John threw a fit one day
I did.
because you checked in at Whole Foods and you said Shaun Thompson is at Whole Foods with 47 other people, and John wanted to know where you found 47 people to follow you around shopping.
Well, especially Whole Foods, yeah. What FourSquare does
Because
is
you know they all wove their own clothes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
explain FourSquare.
Well, I'll get into
whatever.
that in a second. I just
Talk more about that.
basically say more things about that. Basically, FourSquare. All right, I'll explain that one part. So when you check in someplace and you send it to Twitter, what
Check in
it'll
like
do-
how? Like at a
You
You go up to the
Oh,
hostess.
God, this is going to take
Yeah, this
three
is-
and a half years to get
Well,
through
you just
this
need to
segment.
explain this.
You
Okay,
go up
so-
to the hostess.
Okay.
Don't tell her that. So checking in is just when you go into the app, you tell it you're at a place. So you press a button, just like Facebook. Do you check in with Facebook?
Oh, all the time. So it's like
Every
Slick It.
15
yeah, it's-
minutes. So like she understands the concept of checking
Klaus
in.
is
My
on the
God,
couch.
yeah,
Klaus-
Klaus is in the litter box.
Sitting on the toilet.
Kraus just read War and Peace to me. That was when she dropped acid.
Yeah, so it's the exact same. Just like Facebook, you can check in. But Foursquare
Any
doesn't.
of us are doing that.
Yeah, so anyway, what John saw was that when you check into Foursquare, it will count how many people have checked in at that location. So it'll tweet a little message that says, Shaun is at Whole Foods with 17 people or whatever.
That you don't
It doesn't
know.
mean you're with them
Okay,
shopping
okay.
and picking out.
That 17 other people have also checked in at that location.
So you'll see it a lot at the parks because people will check in, and what'll happen is if a certain number of people check in at a location, it can become swarming, which just means that...
That happened yesterday. I checked in at JFK,
Yeah.
and there was like 101 people that had checked in.
And it's called swarming?
And they said it's a
because
swarm.
and they do like bee. They have like a bee logo.
Oh
as
my
bees swarming.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
This is freakishly
She's gonna
weird.
check. She's gonna check in every time she goes to the kitchen.
But there's not
0
500 other people
people.
checking in there.
I kind of
Teresa's
don't
at
get
the
the point
refrigerator
of it
alone.
So
myself.
it's like swarming.
Well-
is this like a flash mob kind of a thing? Or what?
Well, there's no dancing.
Yes, we all started dancing
Well-
in the terminal.
Okay, I would actually like to learn something. So, Teresa,
Okay. I'm trying to learn too. Okay, go ahead.
are you using this specifically as like a diary of where you've been? Because that's the first time I've
Dear
heard
Kitty,
anyone say that.
I went to Whole Foods today.
Dear Kitty. Today was
It was
really my
really
night.
No, I don't use it as a diary. So you're asking about Foursquare specifically, right?
Right.
No, but I like to remember where I've been.
Well, I
You
think
can't.
this-
You're young. You can't remember where you've been.
You do know there was a time when you just
If you
had
don't
to
let him
remember.
get through this segment, I swear to God, I'm going to throw my phone at you.
I think she's gonna start crying.
I never thought of it this way, but it's nice for people who are planning
Or have Alzheimer's.
and know who want to have a way of
It's not just.
remembering their trip.
Yeah.
If you can, so what do? Are you able to access a log of where you've been?
Yeah, so just like you guys are on Facebook, but Facebook has something called a timeline. And that's exactly that. Your posts show up in chronological order, and so you can remember exactly where you were in that order.
That
And so
helps me a lot.
Foursquare has something similar where it just lists where you've been in chronological order. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and this is a legitimate question. Don't you feel like you're bragging though for the people that can't be there? Not
At
at Whole
Whole
Foods,
Foods?
but at Disney.
don't
I mean, sometimes it's like, I'm not bragging that I'm there. I'm just there, And people that aren't there, like,
Well,
getting
you have
all
like
ticked off.
5,000 Facebook friends, so maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not bragging.
See, I don't understand the reason for doing it.
Yeah.
I just don't, and it's not. I think my memory's pretty good. I mean, I remember my youth, and I never checked in. So
I guess I don't think I'm going to forget them, but
I mean, like
just
that's
to-
why we had cameras and diaries.
But again, I think what he said something that really just kind of made a light bulb go off for me. I never thought of it in that way, but it's a great way to use technology today to now have sort of a memory of your trip.
Well, it's also
in addition
just
to pictures and
right,
everything.
but it's also enjoyable in that when you check in at these places, tips left by other people that have been there.
Yeah.
For example, when we checked in at a particular restaurant, people will leave tips like, I had the veal and it was amazing, or or don't order this, or check this out.
So-
Some locations also, we checked in at the Book of Mormon, and you get if you show your Foursquare check-in at the concession stand, they'll give you a special button because you checked in via Foursquare at the Book of Mormon.
And
So
when you say that, it's a virtual button on your phone.
Yeah, it's not like an old voting button or like the British lady from Mary Poppins with the...
right. So there's businesses are interacting with this in a different kind of way as well. If you're an American Express card holder, for example, and you register your card with your Foursquare account, certain discounts will show up at certain locations when you check in. So it's not just about, where Foursquare is concerned, it's not just about necessarily just checking in.
And similar to what you're saying, a huge part of Foursquare is just the social aspect of it.
Right.
So you have your friends on Foursquare just like you do on Facebook, and you can see where they've been. And so if you check into a spot that your friend has already been in, it'll tell you, and it'll show you how many times they've been there, what they did, if they left a tip, it'll show that.
Oh my God.
All right, so explain that to me. So you go and you check in. Do the tips pop up automatically?
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and sometimes you can even check in at a spot like Pete was mentioning, discounts with American Express. Sometimes businesses will just offer their own specials. So, for example, I forget where we were, but if you check into a restaurant, 15% off coupon or something will
Right.
show up.
Also, the Chatterati were talking. First of all, you never want to check in from home.
Correct.
It shows you where you live.
Well,
And if you call in sick from work, don't be checking in places. Because
well, that's a huge part of it too. They do have private addresses on Foursquare, so you can create your house. But what happens is anyone that you're friends with can see that address. So you want to be careful with that. So you can create your own home spot on Foursquare, but if you don't
Like a
want,
fake home?
no, it's your real house.
But instead of showing it to
It's
everyone,
basically something you don't want to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Just be careful.
What I don't understand is, okay, so I'm on Facebook, which is my main media
you're-
place I go. But I can see people on Foursquare there, right? Where they're checking in. How do you the two
Yeah,
get
so a
linked
lot
together?
of the social networks really work well together. So Twitter and Facebook basically collect other posts from different platforms. So I basically just use Facebook to collect that stuff. So Facebook, Foursquare check-ins, Instagram photos can be sent there, Vine videos can go there. Even your tweets, like Pete, you send your tweets to Facebook.
Right. My
Yeah, I
tweets
didn't
automatically
figure out how to
show
do
up
that.
on my.
That's something you did in Twitter?
Yeah, in Twitter, you link your Facebook account to it.
Yeah.
So can I now have a question? I don't mean to get ahead of you. So if you're going to cover this, let me know. How do you see this being connected with someone on a Disney vacation?
Yeah. So like a lot of the stuff we've talked about, I really see it as a good way to remember your trip and keep track of that stuff, whether it be photos, videos, or even just plain check-ins. And then you can go back later. A lot of the services like Facebook and Instagram, they display a map that shows every one of your check-ins and how many times you've been there. So I think we have a couple pictures of that later. Actually, there's the Facebook one now. So
Oh wow!
you can.
I haven't seen that. It's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice, and then you could actually just get a really nice visual representation of where you've been.
Wow.
All right, so I have a question for you. Everyone is concerned about the magic bands. And now Disney can track you where you go. We've had that discussion. What is the difference between that and this? Why can't someone now stalk you?
There
This
is
is
no
completely
difference.
voluntary.
It's all voluntary.
Yeah.
The magic bands are voluntary. This is voluntary. If you don't want to be tracked, don't do it.
All right. So, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing where it's your decision to do it.
I would imagine the people that are worried about that and upset about that probably don't use these services for that way.
Right.
I would imagine.
I have Foursquare. I've used Foursquare and Facebook, but there's a lot of times I don't post where I'm at just because I don't want people to know that I'm not home.
You're millions of fans. Yeah.
Well, and for whatever
Well,
reason.
that's a good point. There are cases that you hear that people check in and they know that you're not at home, and so then they know if they have your address, they know that could possibly be empty, and that's a good way to target your house. But
Right, which is one of the reasons you don't put your address out there.
But I mean, even if it's just a friend or an acquaintance that wants to know your address, if they know you're not there,
Right.
so
What kind of friends you got?
I'm not worried about that. Kathy
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Disney's moving forward with a lot of the technology of magic bands and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and now PhotoPass. I wonder if at some point they might tie those things together.
I would
you
love
could
to see
say-
that.
Anything,
Yeah, I think that
anything
they-
could happen.
We could say an
Anything could happen.
Instagram and a thing.
Right.
Yeah. So just getting back into like using these services in the park, Facebook is like the most popular and well-known one, and I don't use it so much. I mean, I have an account, but I know Teresa and Kathy, you guys are always on Facebook.
No, I'm not.
I am.
Yeah, I don't think you work. I think you're just on
I'm
Facebook.
Well, Facebook it's always right there because I sit at my
No,
desk.
but I don't mean maybe you're not always on it, but you use it a lot more than I do. So do you ever use it in the parks?
I do. I use it in the park. I check in, and we were over at Downtown Disney yesterday. I checked into Downtown Disney, and then I went on Facebook and made a random comment about some people that I saw, and I like to use it just to see what kind of feedback I'm going to get from people, what kind of comments they're going to make.
You want to make them jealous.
No, I don't want to make them jealous. I want to see what they think about what I'm saying, you know? Like yesterday, I made a remark about, it was cold. It was like 34 degrees, and it was like 9:30 in the morning. There was a woman in there, flip-flops, short shorts, and a tiny little tank top. And I'm going, I don't care if it is Florida. Put a jacket on. It's chilly.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
how are you doing this from the park? Using an app on your smartphone?
I'm pulling up Facebook on my phone and then just putting a post on there.
Do you tag the location?
Sometimes, not
Okay.
always.
So in order for you that spot to show up on your Facebook map, you would have to tag a location.
Okay.
And then you could even go as...
So I've never done that.
You could even tag Kathy in it. And then it'll show that you were with Kathy yesterday at Downtown Disney. And that would show up in your timeline. And so that's one of the things you can do. So if you're on vacation and you're at Magic Kingdom, you can tag yourself with your family, your friends at an attraction.
You
Even
know,
post a photo.
sometimes I don't like to post. I'll post some pictures from a park, but I don't like to post a lot because I do get the feedback or like people that, well, you're just doing that to make us jealous. And that is not at all why I do it. It's just, I figure everybody likes to see Disney. I'm not trying to make you jealous because you're not here. I'm just showing you what's going on at that particular moment.
Honestly, if people are that unstable that you saying this is where I am makes them jealous, then they need help well beyond anything we can do.
Well, here's an example. So yesterday, I was kind of doing research for this, and so I went to Epcot yesterday morning, and I overloaded all my social networks. So I posted on Facebook, Twitter. I took pictures with Instagram.
You were a lot of places yesterday.
I was. Well, it was all Epcot. I checked in on FourSquare, all of that stuff. And I didn't see negative feedback. I saw people enjoying the photos and liking being able to see what I saw.
Now, I did something really cool on FourSquare yesterday. I didn't realize you could do this, but I fly Delta, and Delta has Wi-Fi. And I thought, I wonder if it'll let me check in while we're flying.
I was going to ask you about these because I saw these.
And it did. It not only let me check in while I was flying, it was able to triangulate where I was and what part of the country I was over, and all the businesses that were nearby. But I also got a special the Mile High badge because I was checking in from 30,000 feet at 500 miles an hour.
I thought it was 'cause
That
you were
used to
doing
mean
something.
Yes, I know. And there were just, I was just looking for any funny business name, and checking in there. And I mean, there were some really funny ones that were coming up, and it was actually a great way to pass the time on the flight.
Yeah.
That just kind of seeing where we were over what part of the country, could see the map of like where we were, and watch the dot that's you moving at like the speed of light.
Well, and that's another thing on FourSquare. You can create your own locations. So you'll find some funny ones sometimes. Like if you're in the parks, someone will just say the bush near Splash Mountain or something. I think you checked into a few. You and Dustin checked into a few weird ones.
We did.
But yeah, you can create your own, and I don't know. Like you said, it's a good way to pass the time, I guess. If you're,
it was fun. I tell you, I had a really good time doing it.
I'm pretty picky. I don't like to check into places that I've never actually been.
Why?
He's a purist. He's a FourSquare
Only
purist.
because I like to be able to go back and look at that list and say, "Oh, I've been there."
Yeah, but what if you're going to go again? I mean,
Well, it's fine to check in a place twice, but like if I was in an airplane and I was hovering over like South Carolina,
hovering.
I don't know.
Planes don't hover.
I don't know. I don't know if I would check in
He's
just
not that
because
smart.
it's on that list.
Pete didn't follow the rules.
Oh, it's not a rule. It's just
There's
my
no
own
rule. If they let you
No.
do it, it's not a rule.
You could do whatever. Yeah, there's
Well,
no
I've got
rules.
a question for John.
Okay. It's not my segment, but go ahead.
Why are you not getting on Facebook? What's your reasoning there?
First of all, I didn't get into it when everybody else did, so it's kind of like I feel like I'm playing catch up. But the other thing with Facebook has that like and not like and be your friend and not be your friend thing, and to me that kind of feels a little exclusionary. I like Twitter because if people want to follow me, they can. If they don't have to. I don't have to say you're my friend and let you follow me or any of that stuff. I just feel it's a better forum.
It's a little more open. Yeah.
I couldn't have said that better myself. That's
Okay.
exactly what it is.
Because I've never on Facebook, I've never turned down a friend request, but I've been unfriended several times. I mean,
I'm sorry.
it's hurtful.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. So Facebook is both parties have to agree to be friends.
It just it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
There's
That's all.
no dislike. So you mentioned that there was a like versus an unlike or dislike. You can only like things, so there's no negative aspect to that.
Weren't they
You can
working on a
unfriend
dislike?
No,
No.
everyone cries out for it, but it's a horrible idea. I don't think they would ever do that.
It just it sounds clicky.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
It makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so the next one I use is Twitter, and we've talked about this a little bit, but this is actually my favorite one. I'm on Twitter a lot more than I am on Facebook.
Yeah, he used Twitter quite a bit.
Yeah, I just like John said, it's more open. You get to do, whatever. I like the restriction of characters.
I do too.
Yeah.
It keeps things short. You don't have to read long posts. Unnecessary pictures that you have to see. I don't know. It's just easier.
Also,
You're on
Twitter
Twitter.
As he looks at Teresa, unnecessary pictures
of cats.
Those cats sitting on
of
toilets.
cats,
My cat
toilets.
has never sit on the toilet.
In a
You
tutu.
Stop saying that. He has worn a tutu though. Okay.
I find it's fun to check Twitter once or twice a day.
Oh, I'm way above that. I'm bad about
Really?
it.
See,
Yeah.
I have trouble with Twitter. I don't understand. I mean, I understand the concept, but the whole what you're saying and Can I make a comment on that?
Is there anything on earth that could stop you?
What do you mean? Can I make a comment?
Well, I
on
mean, I can make a comment on it, but I don't know. It just seems it's not
it's
as
more of a
personable.
conversation. I think it is actually,
Really?
because it's just like confined to you. So if I wanted to have a conversation between two people, it's not open for everyone to see. I mean, it is technically. You can go look for it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it's more personal to talk like that.
Okay.
But I mean, it's just preference.
Shaun,
I'm
do
just
you
now
use
getting
them? Do you use them all? Do you
I do actually. Yeah, I have an account for all of them.
use them for different purposes?
Yeah, some of them are made for different things. So I use Instagram for photos, Vine for video. I only have one so far. That's fairly new. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, Facebook I don't go on much. I very rarely create a status on Facebook.
Well, let's talk about how you're using these in the park.
Yeah. So like Facebook, you check in. I think that's a good way to chronicle that. Twitter, I basically in the park use it to collect posts from other things. So in the park, my go-to apps are basically Instagram and FourSquare. Because there's actions you can take. You can take a photo, and then for FourSquare you can check in that spot.
And not only, with Instagram, not only can you take a photo, but Instagram has these really great
The filters?
filters.
Yeah, I
that
love
you can
the filters.
that you can
Yeah.
apply to pictures very quickly. That either gives it that that 70s look or that
Sepia
old time look, the
tone, yeah.
sepia tones, things like that. You can do all sorts of really neat things to the pictures. And they can, Facebook owns Instagram, right? They bought Instagram?
Yes.
Didn't they?
Yes.
And so those two apps, those two services work really, really well together.
do.
What you take on Instagram right from your phone, you can apply all these great filters and it goes right to your Facebook page.
Yeah, I love Instagram. I think yesterday morning I took like 3 or 4 photos. And one thing I do want to just touch on are hashtags. Because those are used across all of these different platforms. And they're a good way to organize it and also just tag your posts. And so hashtags, for those of you who don't know, are the pound sign. The
Look right at me. What is it?
Do you know what it
No,
is?
tell me.
Okay, sure.
Explain it.
Yeah. So it's basically just a way of tagging your post, following like a word or phrase, following a pound sign, like a hash symbol, like the old-fashioned number
got
sign.
it, yeah, I know.
And there can't be any punctuation. It's just a word, so you can't have like an apostrophe or anything in it.
Give me an example of how you would use this.
Sure.
I was making fun of Shaun. It seemed that Shaun was eating out every night. So I was teasing him on Twitter, and the hashtag was, "Does Shaun ever eat at home?"
Right.
So you can make it
all
funny.
one word.
Yeah, that's kind of an impractical one. It's really
Right.
funny.
It's
and
funny and
I
it's cute
tend-
for your friends. But if you want to do something that's a little more practical, you might follow there's a TV show. There's Walking Dead that we love.
Right.
They'll do hashtag Walking Dead, and you can tweet about it, and then yours are all grouped with everyone else's
Right. So, when
conversation.
you write something about Walking Dead, and then right after your post, you add the hashtag and then Walking Dead, and then anybody looking for that hashtag.
They-
Oh, so you go in and look for.
Yes.
Oh,
so
I
so
like
for
this.
Disney
Okay.
parks, what I like to do is if you're not at the park, so say you come on vacation, every once every few years, you can go onto these services and kind of get real-time updates on the parks.
Because you know what people are talking about at that moment.
At that
Right.
moment,
Because if
yeah.
everybody's using the same hashtag.
So if you go on Twitter and do a search for hashtag Epcot, for example,
Oh,
you can
this
go
is
and
kinda
see
cool.
all the real
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Also, on the night the Oscars were on, if you tweeted anything and put hashtag Oscars, your tweet went into the conversation.
Right.
Oh, this is kind of cool.
They're also
Okay.
doing this on American Idol right now with, do you agree with the judges or don't you agree with the judges? It's all,
Hashtag.
all done with hashtags. And they're actually, what's really cool what they're doing is they're actually showing statistics in real time. Agree, disagree. And you're like watching the tally change as the judge says something
wow.
about a particular contestant, which I thought is a really unique way to use it. I haven't seen that done on a live show before.
Yeah.
I thought
That's
that was kind of
interesting.
neat.
Andy Cohen does that on his show.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he actually has. They have Play Live, and their tweets and stuff all do real time
He calls
polls.
it Play
and things.
Live.
He goes to Play Live, and it's all real time stuff. So
We should do that.
we should. And I was going to ask you that. I mean, is there a way for us as a community to maybe set up our own hashtags?
Which we have actually done before. So every time I tweet from the Diz Unplugged account, I include the hashtag Diz Unplugged. So I would love for you guys to use them, sure.
So maybe on our show notes page, we could put in those hashtags so people know to use them.
Sure. And even for Podcast Cruise 4.0, I made a hashtag.
Yep,
And
that
so,
I screwed up and used the wrong one.
I want a hashtag that shows stuff live on the feed as we're
I
going
would
out
love
live.
to do that. If we can work that out.
On their feet?
Yeah.
feed on the feed on our show.
On their feet.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's hashtags. And I read a really interesting article recently that asked if hashtags belong to Twitter. And they don't, because, I mean, these have been used for years, like way before Twitter was invented. And so you can use them on Instagram, FourSquare. People even use them on Facebook sometimes. The issue with Facebook is they don't link. So the real helpful thing is if that hashtag will turn into a link, you can click on it and then be taken to that search, which is pretty handy. On Facebook, it doesn't do that, so it's not as useful.
Because Facebook has its own kind of way to tag other people. It searches through your friends.
Tag people, yeah. It's a little more difficult to tag subjects or places. But
They're asking if we can create a hashtag that's just hashtag Diz.
Yes.
If enough people talk about it, it'll create itself.
There's no
I mean, you don't
process.
actually have to create it. You just use it.
You just use it, and if you use it enough, it's made.
So what I say by create is we should get it out there to people to know.
Or that we're all using the same
Right,
one.
because people won't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I had people ask us that too. Is this the official hashtag for Podcast Cruise 4? Yes. So if we go through and we tell them, hey, listen, this is what we're doing. So,
Yeah.
More people will pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Which one are we going to use when we talk? Are we going to use hashtag Diz Unplugged or just hashtag Diz?
Simple. Go simple.
Okay. I don't even know if it needs to be up to me, but I would go with Diz Unplugged.
Switch to me. Hashtag Diz.
Okay.
Oh,
So
he has
say it
spoken.
fine.
Oh, and,
There you go, Chatterati.
and the
So-
flag behind him looks like a hat. Like he's,
Oh, back to me. Back to me.
It's very lame is.
it is very
Javert.
Look down.
24601.
Hold on.
That's the gayest thing I've ever heard.
Too low.
Gay.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So the next one is my second favorite social network, and that's Instagram. And so that, like we talked about already, is the photo taking app, and you kind of recognize it because all the photos are square. So it crops it into a perfect square, and then you have the filters, and you can add anything you want filter wise. A lot of people use multiple apps, so you can use one to add captions. You can add borders and stuff, all kinds of crap. I just stick to fairly simple photos.
So Instagram, you're taking a picture and you're putting it on Instagram,
Yeah.
and who can see this once you put it there?
Your Instagram followers. However, if you choose to share it through Twitter or Facebook, it will also be put on those networks.
Think of it like your Facebook friends, but now you have an Instagram account with Instagram followers.
So it's another place to put pictures so people can see my pictures.
Yes.
So you can be more popular.
But what you can do
I
is
don't
what
wanna be more
Shaun
popular.
says that's really great is you can tie these things together so you're not doing multiple things.
So it doesn't seem so exclusive.
Yeah,
So you
see,
can
that's
share
what
across.
I'm a little unclear on is how
Yeah.
it all ties together. I
Right.
guess-
It'll link to your, like for you, it'll link to your Facebook profile, and then it'll actually save your Instagram photo into all your other photos that you have. Right?
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we're making the Chatterati explode. They're
Why?
watching us, they're chatting, they're tweeting and Facebooking and taking pictures
very
and checking
meta.
in.
I think this all comes to the ultimate question of all this. At what point is this now too much that it ruins our vacations?
Well, that's up to every individual. I mean, it
You
depends on
control
what you want to
exactly
do.
how much you do with this.
But I think there are people out there who get obsessed and think they have to do it all.
Well, I don't.
Well, I mean, look, we've built an industry on this kind of obsession. I mean, look at the boards. Look at we're all obsessed about Disney and finding new ways to share it, and using a lot of us we love the concept of using technology to share that experience. That's the whole concept of everything we built, was about sharing a passion for Disney with everybody else. These are just new ways to do it.
And I think just like everything else, you control how much you moderate that. So if you go to the park and you only want to do one post, I mean, that's fine for you. But if, like yesterday morning, I did a lot. I usually don't do as much as I did yesterday because it really took up more time than I would want to. But my goal for going to the park that day was to...
Yeah.
I also think it creates another thing where people say, listen, I'm traveling with family and friends and I like to do something and they don't like to do something. This could be another thing for people to do. Like, I'm going to go to the park by myself and my thing is to take pictures
Definitely.
and post on Instagram.
Yeah.
Some of it kind of worries me. You're not living in the, especially if you're a family in the park, you're not living in the moment and enjoying what you're doing.
Well,
so much
again,
as-
these are personal decisions
Oh, I know,
that
I
people make.
understand,
We're
I
not sitting here
understand.
saying,
You have to
we're
do
not here
this.
to have a discussion on whether it's right or wrong.
Oh, I understand.
These are just, people have choices, individual choices, and really doesn't have much to do with this discussion.
Yeah,
But
it's one of those things too. Like if you take a picture and want to upload it to Instagram, wait till you get in line for a ride. Like
Oh, that's a
you
good
can
idea. Yeah,
that's a
still
good tip.
enjoy
That's what I do
everything. You
too.
take your pictures, you go get in line. You're standing around anyways. Just upload it then.
Or even take it one
tip.
step further and save them till you're home.
Yeah.
Take a whole bunch of photos, and then I think there's actually a hashtag for this called Latergram. So you save up all your
I think
photos from your
Gracie
trip.
is that. Yeah.
Yeah, Grace is really big on Instagram. So is
She is.
Taylor.
Yeah. She uses my
Julie's
phone to
sister.
do it all
Yeah.
the time.
But yeah, so there's different ways you can control that. So it's not like you're constantly on your phone. Another one I want to talk about is Vine, and it's a new service that Twitter just created about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm interested about this.
It's amazing. I'm really liking it. And so basically, it's kind of the Instagram for videos. So what you can do is you can create 6-second videos. That's the max length. Very short videos. But the really interesting thing is the way you shoot the video is by tapping your finger to the screen. So the second you lift your finger off the screen, it stops recording. So you could do but several taps, just short taps.
Really?
Or you can just keep your finger on your screen for 6 seconds, and it'll record the whole time. So a lot of what you're seeing is really planned out, because 6 seconds is a long time to work with. So you really need to plan out your time and budget it so that you know exactly what shot you're going to do at what time.
And the way it works is that when it's finally uploaded into the Vine timeline, they constantly loop. So you'll see like Shaun's got a video and it's 6 seconds and it's on a loop, almost like an animated GIF.
But there is sound.
But there's
so
sound.
That's good.
And a lot of people, a lot of celebrities who you follow on Twitter have gotten really creative with doing Vines as well, which those are the ones that I like to follow anyway.
Sure. But yesterday I did my first one, and it was for the Flower and Garden Festival. So I think we might show this real fast. So
Wow.
so it's really fast.
That's 6 seconds.
Basically what I did was I just had the app open the entire time, went to a new scene, touched it for a really short, and then I moved on to the next one. Tapped the screen.
So it's like a little slideshow. Yours kind of was like a little.
Little video slideshow.
Yeah.
And so that went on to Facebook and Twitter, everywhere else that I told it to.
That you told it to.
Yeah. And so it's just like the Instagram of videos. There's not a lot of Disney content right now because it's fairly new. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks old. So
Vine, VINE.
Vine app. So the URL is vineapp.com. Yep.
Interesting.
Now, on some of the other, if you were to bring Vine into your Facebook or Twitter, they don't constantly loop, right? It just plays at once.
Yeah, so what happens is it depends on who works with who. So Vine, it belongs to Twitter. So if you have it show up in your Twitter feed, it's already open, ready to play. But if you link to it on Facebook, it'll show up as a link you have to open in a new window.
Okay.
And that's because there's a relationship between Twitter and Vine.
Right.
But yeah.
Because that's part of it, is that it loops over and over again.
And a lot of the ones like Dustin mentioned are by celebrities doing funny ones. So I think Will Sasso, who used to be on Mad TV, is doing like the funniest ones right now. But yeah, you should go look. It's good. But I think there's a lot of potential for using this in the park with your family. Just quick little snippets, like if you're waiting in line and you're bored.
Yeah.
Just
So
That
you
would-
can
now that would
remember
be
what you
awesome.
saw. So you can remember what you saw.
Or what your
In line,
child
yeah.
said, or
yeah.
Or just, cute, fun, creative. I mean, the what I love about tools like this, whether any of it, people get really creative with this stuff. And you were talking about Will Sasso and is that his name?
Yeah.
Just doing different creative things. I finding ways to do it that weren't envisioned when it was created.
Yeah.
And so it leaves so much room for creativity.
Especially at Disney, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just a couple people are doing attraction vines. So what they'll do is, I tried this at Maelstrom yesterday and it ended up failing, but you have 6 seconds, so you really need to budget it. But if you do like a little bit of each scene on the attraction, so you'll start with like the sign and then move on, and then as you go on the boat or whatever through the ride, you'll take a little shot of that ride, and at the end you'll have this nice 6 second little quick snapshot of that ride. So, yeah.
that's cool.
And so I just want to go back to FourSquare a little bit. I mean, we talked about checking in and
How
leaving
Kathy's
tips.
afraid to do it.
Yeah, Kathy doesn't want anyone to break into her house.
No, Foursquare's the place that I got a lot of people going like it's too much because I'm not a classy person. Yep, you got it.
That confused me. I was looking at her mouth and I didn't see it.
It's like,
Wow.
what's she doing
Wow,
that?
she's talented.
She's throwing her voice.
What do you mean, Kathy? What happened?
Should go to
The
Great Lakes.
people were upset when I posted a lot of like check-ins on Foursquare.
They were mad at you?
Yeah, I got a lot of feedback about that.
Okay, well then you do
Well-
this.
Yeah, do just that. Yeah, so Foursquare is cool because now businesses and groups are starting to create pages. And so what I've done is I've created the Diz Foursquare page. And you can go like it. It's at foursquare.com/thediz. And one thing that we can do is create lists for certain people or certain groups or certain like things. And so I've created 4 lists that are kind of specific to Diz Unplugged podcast segments or just us in general. So for example, Pete has his favorite coffee spots. I did one for Corey and his monorail crawl. So that kind of corresponds with his Drink Around the World segment. I think I made one for my favorite snacks. And then Dustin has a best beer locations one.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
so this.
So people can
So-
like look at these lists, go to those places, check in at those places.
Kind of like the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
And what'll happen is it'll keep track of where you've been. So if you've
Coffee,
been to
food,
one
beer,
of
and
those-
liquor. What else do I need?
Well, there's one more we've left out.
Not
You
at
don't-
Disney.
You can't check in there at Disney.
No.
And what happens if you get all of them on the list?
It'll just say you've completed it.
Okay.
So we're just starting off with the page.
And then
I'm
we'll
not
make
sure.
fun of you for doing it.
Kevin will.
So
yeah.
people can go along and. Okay. This
Yeah.
is kinda
And so I'd like to
cool.
branch it out. We could do more. I think there's also a list on the page about thrill rides at Disney World. So it's going to grow for sure. I think we've got about like 90 followers so far. So
Wow.
it's a pretty good
Awesome.
start. Yeah. Yeah, and so go ahead and like us on Foursquare, and then you can check in, and then it'll keep track of what you've completed. And like Dustin asked, you don't get a badge or anything yet, but it'll at least show that you've completed that list. And
How do we give people badges?
I'm not sure if the API allows that. I need to do some more research.
I think
but
we should send Kathy to their house while they're away.
She'll make Cricut ones. Yeah.
The
Well,
Associated
cricket
Press
badges.
won't let us give out badges.
No, API. That's a social media term, or actually just a web app term.
Application Programming Interface.
Yeah,
You know what
I was
API
thinking it
is.
was Associated
Knock
Press
it off.
too. What the heck?
Yeah, thanks, John.
Channeling Teresa.
Yeah, and so just to end with, I made a slide, a graphic that shows which of us has what app and what social networking service.
Oh,
John has
my.
one.
It kind of keeps tracks.
Okay, you don't have my updated information then.
What do you have that I don't have listed?
Instagram and
Oh.
Foursquare.
You keep those hidden because I did a search.
I have Instagram.
I thought you did.
I do. I think
I follow you.
Oh, do you?
Okay,
Not
this
much
is
is happening.
this
there.
is a look at social media, right? And who are the least social people on the list?
John and Kevin.
And you know what's really funny? I think we're
No,
prob-
Walter.
Oh,
Yeah, Walter
well,
just has
Walter,
Facebook.
John, and I are tied. We each have one.
We have one.
Walter's never on Facebook.
Oh, I know. He's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll put this up in the show notes, and what I'd like to do is set it up so that you can click on each check mark, or at least have a way to
That's
access
cool.
these profiles.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm listening to you talk, and I think to myself, I don't have time to check Twitter all the time. And I think to myself, I don't have time to invest
I
in
think this is the problem, though. I think what happens now is people hear all this stuff. We have friends who've done this. They hear all this stuff, and all of a sudden you think, I have to do it.
Right.
You don't have to do
Well,
anything.
What you do is
Find
you
what
know,
works
look,
for you.
Try it. See if you like it.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. I'm just saying for
And
me.
we make the time for the things that we like. We make time for the things we enjoy. And so I think that, checking these things out, trying them out, maybe it's not for you, maybe it is. You won't know until you try it and see. At first with Foursquare, I thought, oh God, there's no way I'm going to get into this. It just doesn't appeal to me. But the more I'm using it, the more I'm enjoying it. It's very engaging. It's a lot of fun. What tips are going to show up? What special things are going to show up when I check in someplace? Just having a record of where I was.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
When you check in at Foursquare and it says 17 other people are here, does it show you who those people are?
No, actually, yeah, it does. You
Yeah.
can go see who else is there. I
Then
think you only
confront
get.
them.
Yeah, you go.
Do you go running through Whole
Why are you
Foods
here?
screaming,
screaming their
Amy?
name. Yeah.
No, I just think it might be fun if maybe we
I'm
do
here.
something fun with our listeners and say we're going to be in the park today and see if people check in where we are.
Oh, that would be fun.
That might be Teresa's in the park.
Nope.
So.
I was going to say John, but that would be
Well,
kind of
yeah.
cool.
Again,
Well, John has to get a FourSquare.
I have to leave my house.
So, something that wasn't on there that I
John's
signed
in
up
his
for,
car in the
whatever,
parking lot.
the Pinterest or whatever.
Pinterest
what
is
is
a little
that?
different,
People
yeah.
are still trying to follow me on that, and I've done nothing with it but sign up.
Yeah, me too. I haven't.
I
done
think it
anything
would be
with Pinterest.
dangerous for you.
Pinterest
What
is
is
like
it?
a bulletin board, right? Where
It
you
is.
take your pictures and you say, I like this, and you pin it.
And we have a Diz Pinterest page, so you should go find that. I have links in the show notes. But basically what you do is it's a bulletin board that you can pin.
Random crap.
Well, you categorize it, so you have a board for certain things like recipes, or for a lot of people do like wedding inspiration. So like you take these photos.
Food
and
is
you-
really big. Food
Okay,
pictures
okay.
are really
so
big.
is like nutrition and like working out,
Ooh.
wedding stuff,
That's the
interior
one
design.
I follow.
Yeah, like
Well, I get the
home
email that
decor.
so and so is following you on Pinterest. Well,
I
they're
love
not
to watch
following
other people
anything.
work out.
Can I ask you one more technical
Yeah.
question? Can you go through the ones that are connected? Like Twitter and Instagram and FourSquare are connected. So if you set up an account, you can have it go through. What other ones are connected like that?
almost all of them.
Yeah, they all kind of connect to
Yeah,
each
but
other.
didn't you say Twitter wasn't?
They all can connect, but the way they interact is different sometimes. So I think what you're talking about is when I mentioned that Vine was owned by Twitter, and so it works a little better than Vine on Facebook.
Right.
That just has to do with the interaction it has. So when you see a post from Vine on Facebook, it takes a little bit more work to get to that content.
But within your account settings on each different type of account, you can decide which ones you want to share with the other ones. So it's all up to you how you want to do it.
So say if I set up a FourSquare account, I can say share this with my Twitter. Here's my Twitter name.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yes.
Excellent.
Oh,
Correct.
you need to show me how to do that later. I don't know how to do
Okay.
it. Okay.
We'll have a tutorial session after this.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's it. One thing I do want to mention about FourSquare that we kind of talked about was the social aspect of it. If you have FourSquare turned on and you have notifications on, you can set up a feature that says, let me know when my friend is nearby.
Oh.
I
And
didn't
so
realize
that
that.
kind of helps. So say if you're downtown or something and you check in, it knows where you are, then it'll know which of your friends have checked in close by.
Or if you have a restraining order, you can leave.
Exactly. So that could be helpful in the park. Say you're at Magic Kingdom, I get a notification saying, "Oh, Teresa's over at Big Thunder."
And you run the other
So
way.
you avoid Big Thunder.
Exactly.
Right.
But no, see, this is interesting because sometimes if I check in on Facebook somewhere, someone on Facebook will say, "Oh, I was just about there,"
Yeah.
or "I was there," or "I was there yesterday." So it will let you know
In real time.
in real time.
Have you played
Yeah.
with the one that comes with the iPhone, which is like People Finder or People
Oh,
Connect?
that's not so much like a social network. That's basically a tool to know where people are.
So you have to actually go in and say, I want to know where Shaun is, and he wants to know where I am.
Yeah, and it's pretty privacy heavy, security
I
heavy.
would hope
because-
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People Finder.
Okay, I have an update. Cut to me. They're saying, the chatterati are saying, telling us that #Diz is associated with some stuff that's kind of negative.
I was gonna ask.
So we're going to move to #TheDiz.
Okay.
you have
Go
to
back
be
to the
It
careful.
wasn't a
shots.
long update.
Go back to the shot with Pete in a hat so we can make the announcement.
Yeah, we have to have an official.
The Diz. Kiss the ring.
Oh Lord.
I'm not doing it. No.
Are you running for Pope?
It's conclave.
It's the conclave.
#conclave. That's it.
All right. Well, thank
fine.
you very much for that, Shaun. That will do it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next time with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone. And remember, stay out of the damn lakes.